Hi, welcome to the next episode of VCF Breakroom Chats. I'm Tako Enishi, Product Marketing Engineer at Broadcom, and I lead product marketing for VCF Automation, which is a core component of VCF that powers that private cloud self-service experience. And in this series focused on VCF Automation, we bring VMware and industry experts to discuss VCF's cloud infrastructure automation capabilities. And in today's episode, I'm really excited to speak with Vincent Riccio, Technical Marketing Manager at Broadcom. Vincent leads the technical marketing team for VCF Automation. And today, we're going to discuss how VCF 9.0 helps simplify Kubernetes for VI admins that are aspiring to be cloud admins. Vincent, was good seeing you at Explore in Vegas, and thanks for being here with us today.
Yeah, glad to be here too, Taka. Thanks a lot.
Yep. So Vincent, let's jump right in. For VI admins, who've, only managed vSphere for most of their careers, what does it actually mean to run Kubernetes in a private cloud as a cloud admin?
Yeah, running Kubernetes in a private cloud, first of all, doesn't mean you suddenly need to become a container expert. What it really means is that your virtual infrastructure can provide the foundation for modern applications, right? So with VCF, Kubernetes is just another service, right, delivered on top of the private cloud, which is based on virtualization. So, which you already know how to manage. So, manage that infrastructure in a similar way to your application teams now, in terms of how infrastructure is code and IaaS is delivered to the business, can help reduce friction when delivering applications.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds reassuring. But I'm sure many VI admins feel intimidated by Kubernetes. And, why do you think that is? And, how does VCF remove that fear?
Yeah, yeah, good question, Tiger. I mean, Kubernetes comes with a lot of jargon, pods, manifests, nodes. That's could be unfamiliar to most VI admins. So, the fear is real, but the key is, you don't need to master all of that. VCF abstracts a lot of that away, and as a VI admin, you're really providing the platform.
Mhm.
And VCF automates the Kubernetes setup so platform engineers and developers can use it without you having to micromanage all the details.
That's great, Vincent. But, I'm sure you still need to know the basic concepts. So, what's the simplest way to explain Kubernetes infrastructure to a VI admin, with no container experience?
Yeah, so think of Kubernetes like a cluster manager or a container manager, right? It's similar to how vSphere might manage virtual machines. So instead of VMs, you're kind of managing containers or other objects and services. So the good news is you don't have to manage it directly. VCF takes that role. So you just need to know that VCF uses Kubernetes to manage services that provide infrastructure as a service approach, right, to delivering apps to the business. So to deploy a VM, for instance, we're just going to use a custom Kubernetes definition to deploy that. Now you can use our form to deploy that virtual machine. You don't have to build the manifest from scratch. So those are things that really help. So VCF, uses those kind of capabilities, and being able to deploy VMs like that, similarly to the way that application teams are, can provide some synergies there as well.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so just to make sure I got this right, do VI admins need to learn Kubernetes deeply before becoming a cloud admin and delivering a private cloud that supports it?
No, no, not at all. I mean, you just need to understand the basics, right? So Kubernetes groups applications into containers, and developers need environments where those run. With VCF, you can deliver those environments, right, through a UI-based self-service portal without ever memorizing Kubernetes commands or coding YAML files.
Awesome, awesome. So then, Vincent, what role do platform engineers play, versus the VI admins, or should I say the cloud admin, when it
Yeah.
comes to Kubernetes infrastructure?
Yeah, cloud admins focus on making sure the private cloud is up and running, and compute storage and networking are all set up, and you have the overall governance and policies ready across the tenants and all the projects and lines of businesses. And then the platform engineers, right, then consume that cloud to spin up Kubernetes and maybe other infrastructure or services for the developers. So you're really enabling them and not really managing Kubernetes day to day.
All right. So what's new in VCF 9.0 that makes it easier than ever for our, aspiring cloud admins to get started with Kubernetes?
Yeah, great question. So VCF 9 adds simplified lifecycle automation with built-in vSphere Kubernetes services. There's a K8s runtime that runs right on the platform, and there's very fast cluster provisioning. So you can stand up a Kubernetes services for platform engineers with just a few clicks. So it's much easier and faster than what we've had. So admins and users can deploy these clusters, load balancers using intuitive forms. So it's quick and easy now to do it. There's also a robust CLI as well for more advanced use cases.
Great, great. So Vincent, does this mean VCF automation can automatically handle the complexity of, setting up Kubernetes clusters for the developers?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So, VCF provides an easy way to deploy the clusters, scale the clusters, apply security settings, view metrics. Instead of days of manual work, Kubernetes clusters can now be provisioned, automatically, right, through a catalog or API. So people, developers get what they need, and you don't have to, as a VI admin, get buried in, Kubernetes settings.
Okay. And how much of the underlying complexity of Kubernetes does, VCF actually abstract away for the cloud admin?
Yeah. You know, Good question. So, I mean, for cloud admins, it's quite a bit of it. In fact, nearly all of it. I mean, you are interacting with policies, pools, and resource pools, just like you are familiar with the things you already know from virtualization. And even though there may be some Kubernetes verbiage in the product, you're really in there just setting up the platform for those app teams to deploy their apps in a modern way. But for the most part, the Kubernetes layer is masked a bit. There will be terms and stuff you'll see, but it shouldn't be an overloaded amount of stuff for you to have to manage.
I see. Um, so then, what does the daily life of a cloud admin look like, when managing this self-service private cloud with
Yeah,
VCF in the context of, Kubernetes?
yeah, it's very familiar. I mean, you're still provisioning capacity, you're setting quotas, you're managing SLAs, you're ensuring performance. The difference now is that you'll be working with, or can work with and deliver a modern API in a self-service catalog where your infrastructure and your application services are available, not just for VMs and clusters, but also for self-service databases, on-demand storage, GitOps workflows for more complex applications. And then you spend less time ticket chasing and more time on just offering these services and optimizing the infrastructure.
That's great. So then how does, VCF enable cloud admins to empower developers, without, learning Kubernetes themselves?
Yeah, with VCF self-service catalog and APIs, developers they can log in, request a cluster, get it in minutes, download the correct authentication files and things they need, and you don't need to touch Kubernetes yourself or debug it the manifest. The automation and guardrails are pretty much built into the platform, so it's really about enabling those developers, while focusing on what you do best. Right.
All right. So then, Vincent, what's the single biggest misconception that, VI
Mhm.
admins who are now aspiring to be these cloud admins, what do they have about Kubernetes that, you'd like to clear up for them?
Yeah, I think probably one of the biggest misconceptions is that to run the Kubernetes, you platform, you need to become a Kubernetes expert, right? And that's not necessarily the case. With VCF, you can remain an infrastructure expert and empower others to handle the Kubernetes layer, which frees up your time, right, as well.
Hmm. Awesome. And, if there's one action item you'd recommend these existing VI admins to take, after listening to our conversation today, what would that be?
Yeah, good question. I think I would start by, exploring the self-service catalog in VCF 9 and the new self-service IaaS capabilities. Launch a Kubernetes cluster yourself, right? And just see how shockingly easy it is. And then, all those small steps will build confidence and show you firsthand how you can do it yourself. And then when you get into that method of delivering IaaS and PaaS to the business, you'll start to see a really nice elevated way to bring agility and flexibility to applications and services for the business.
Hmm. All right, great stuff, Vincent. And
Yeah.
with that, unfortunately, we're coming to a close of this episode. Thanks so much for joining me today, Vincent.
Yeah. Thanks as well, Taka. It was great talking with you and demystifying Kubernetes a bit.
All right. Yeah, love this conversation. Had a lot of fun speaking with Vincent today. Hope you all like this episode, and please join us for our next one. All right, this is your host Taka Inishi signing off, and have an awesome week. Goodbye until next time.